Welcome to First Time Watching. The Autopsy of Jane Doe is one of those movies that wants you to go in blind. I love it when filmmakers do the marketing correctly and then blow your mind. In the movie, we follow Tommy and Austin Tilden, who receive an unidentified body to perform an autopsy on, but the more they find out, the worse things get. We kick things off in Grantham, Virginia. There is a massive crime scene. The sheriff gets called into the basement of the home, where they find the body of a woman half buried. She has no relation to the people living there, so for now she is a Jane Doe. The weird thing about the crime scene, though, is it doesn't look like someone broke in. It actually looks like the people were trying to break out. At the Tilden mortuary, Austin and his father Tommy are doing their thing, slicing and bone cracking away. Austin decides the guy died from smoke inhalation, but Tommy thinks he's wrong. This is a perfect teaching moment. There is a subdural hematoma, which is the cause of his death. Tommy thinks that while trying to escape the burning building, the guy fell and hit his head, which killed him. Tommy is on his way out for the night and goes for a smoke while Austin finishes up. He hears a noise coming from the vents. It's their cat, Stanley. He caught a rat and snuck into the morgue. He calls out to his dad to tell him, but Tommy doesn't answer. So he looks around. His girlfriend Emma scares him. She snuck in because she was curious to see the morgue. She wants to see the bodies, but Austin tells her no. But Tommy shows up and tells her to just pick one, let's see if she can handle it. So Austin shows her. The second one has a bell around his ankle. They used to tie bells around the ankles of bodies to make sure they did not confuse people in a coma with dead ones. The guy was shot in the face by someone. She wants to see the face, but Austin stops her. Tommy tells her it's fine, but then he scares her by ringing the bell. The two of them try to take off when the sheriff shows up with another body. Tommy tells Austin to go and have fun. He'll take care of this one. But Austin doesn't trust it. The sheriff looked a little off, which annoys Emma because he keeps on ditching her and they are planning to leave town, but he hasn't told his dad yet. The sheriff tells Tommy that he found the body in the basement. No ID, no fingerprints in the system, and no idea who she might be. His bet is that the owner of the house who died in the massacre murdered her. Austin walks back in, right when the sheriff says he will need to know how she died tonight. He needs something for the press or they'll eat him alive. The boys get right to work on their Jane Doe. The subject appears to be in her mid to late 20s, Caucasian, no obvious external markings, except her eyes are gray, which would mean her body's been dead for days. But there is no rigor mortis, which is very weird. Tommy finds fractures in her wrists and ankles, which is another anomaly. Normally, there would be marks on her body. There is also peat in her hair and under her fingernails, which is strange because peat is usually not found in Virginian soil. Austin opens her mouth. Her tongue has been severed crudely. Someone ripped it out of her mouth. Tommy's seen this before in a human trafficking case. It was exactly the same with broken ankles, wrists, and the tongue. A fly crawls out of her nose as Austin takes a picture. Tommy notices that one of her teeth is missing, and then he finds a string down her throat. He tells Austin to send it to the lab, and then they proceed to research her insides through the holes available to them. She is torn up from the inside. She has cuts inside her vagina. After being done with the external examination, they will now proceed with the internal portion. The lights flicker, and the radio changes channel as Tommy holds the knife to her body. He cuts her open, and blood starts seeping from the cuts. Dead bodies aren't supposed to bleed like that. Tommy's seen it before, but only on fresh corpses, never like this. As Austin goes to the fridge, he notices that the blood he just took from her body is leaking out of it. It escaped the test tube. There is something strange about her frame. The way it is shaped would suggest she wore a lot of corsets, which is strange because they went out of style hundreds of years ago. Tommy cuts out her ribs and finds her lungs are severely blackened, but that isn't from smoking. Lungs like these would normally suggest she was burned alive, but it's just her lungs. It's like finding a bullet in the brain without an entry wound. Her heart looks like it's been cut. There is also scar tissue on her liver. They wonder how it is possible for her to be so beat up on the inside, but unharmed on the outside. The lights flicker, and one thing is clear. There are easier ways to kill someone. The person who killed Jane wanted to make her suffer. There's a noise in the hallway. Austin goes to check it out while Tommy takes another look at the crime scene photos. Austin sees someone standing around the corner in the mirror. He looks, but no one's there. As Tommy looks on, he accidentally cuts himself. Austin checks the storage room when the vents suddenly start blowing. He looks inside and listens. opens. Something is in there and he falls from his chair. Tommy comes to check on him. Austin checks again with a flashlight. It's their cat Stanley. He's been attacked by something and he is suffering. So Tommy finishes the job. They take the cat to the cremation room and fire up the burner. Tommy needs a minute to say goodbye, so Austin returns to their Jane Doe. One of the coolers slowly opens. Austin goes to check when Tommy returns. He tells his son that Stanley was a pain in the ass, but he was his mother's, one of the only things of her he had left. But now they have to get back to work. Stage 3 of the autopsy. Time to look inside her organs. Tommy cuts open her intestines and pulls out an old rotten flower. So Tommy immediately goes to his desk to look it up. It's Jimson weed, a paralyzing agent. It explains the inflammation in the organs, which settles where she comes from. Between the peat and the flower, she has to be from up north. Something feels off, and Austin suggests they should finish this up in the morning. But Tommy tells him the sheriff needs this tonight. When they start something, they finish it. If he wants to leave, he should. And then Tommy proceeds with cutting into the intestines and finds a small bag with a tooth inside it. And on the cloth, there are ritualistic drawings. The fact that it is still intact is amazing. He looks at the thread they found. It's from the same cloth. Austin compares the tooth to the hole. It's a match. So someone pulled it out and made her swallow it. It feels very ritualistic, human sacrificey, but they have no idea how they did it without damaging her on the outside. The voice on the radio says, "You're not going anywhere," and then plays old music. So Austin warns Tommy again they should probably leave now. Tommy removes the skin from the body, and under it they find more ritualistic drawings. The cooler slowly opens as the radio turns up, and the lights explode. Now that everything took a turn for the worse, Austin grabs a flashlight and looks for his dad, who tells him they need to get the fuck out of there. All the coolers are open and the bodies are gone. The backup generator kicks in, so he tries the elevator, but there is not enough power. He tries the latch, but it's stuck. Austin has no signal, so they can't call for help. Tommy tells him they should go to the office for the landline, but as they go down the hallway, something is coming, so they run and lock themselves into the office to call the sheriff. Tommy tells him to get over there right now, but the sheriff can't hear him. It's a bad connection. They are trapped down there. They both look at the door. There's a ringing noise. There is someone on the other side of the door. Austin tries to look under it. It's one of the corpses. It tries to get in, so they put a cabinet in front of the door. Austin tells his dad, "It's her." This all started to happen after they cut into her. Tommy checks his own cut. Austin doesn't think she is just a body. There is something in the bathroom. Austin sees it, but when his dad checks, it's gone. But he gets pulled back and the door locks. He gets slammed around by something invisible, and then it's gone as Austin barges in. He helps his dad up and takes care of his wounds. He tells Austin that whatever attacked him had her eyes, but that's impossible. But whatever it is, it's because of her. After catching their breath, they go back out into the hallway and make their way back to the autopsy room. They both look at Jane Doe, and then at everything they took out of her. It has all decomposed. It's like the body was preserving her insides. The doors slowly close. Tommy proposes they cremate her. He closes her up while Austin grabs the cart, but the door locks. Austin grabs the emergency axe and tries to hack it open, but he stops when he sees the body standing there. It's alive, so Austin grabs the flammable liquids while Tommy lights a match and sets her on fire. She starts spewing the flames and the entire ceiling catches fire, so they grab the extinguisher. Jane Doe slowly douses, and her body is still completely intact. The elevator is moving. Austin grabs the axe and they open the door to the hallway. The lights turn on and off as the elevator door closes. They are just too late. One of the bodies is coming their way. The bell is closing in. Austin pushes the button for the elevator to come, but Tommy takes the axe from him as the corpse steps into the light. The elevator arrives and Austin opens the door. He pulls his dad inside and tries to close the doors, but the electricity goes out again before they close. The guy that was shot in the face rounds the corner, so Tommy hits him with his axe. The lights go back on. It was Emma. Austin's girl is dead on the floor, but they have to go. No time for baby back bitch behavior, so Tommy tells Austin to get in right now. But the elevator doesn't work. They are stuck. Tommy's wounds are getting worse as Austin wallows in his own self-pity. But Tommy tells him it wasn't his fault. He should have let him go. It was just like with his mom. If he knew she was so unhappy, he would have helped her, but she hid it so well. It was his fault. He could have been there for her. All his mistakes, and Austin had to pay for them. Jane lights up the oven while Austin wonders why they aren't dead yet. If she wanted them dead, then she could have. It's like she doesn't want them to find something something. The oven spews out smoke and fire, but Austin and Tommy have to go back. They have to figure out what happened to her. A wall of smoke is coming their way, but they walk straight into it, back to the autopsy room. But they get separated. The bodies attack Tommy and cut him down. Austin finds him on the floor and picks him up to rush to the autopsy room. They get right back to work. Austin takes a knife and opens her scalp to look at her brain. The brain looks normal, so he removes a part and puts it under the microscope. And that's when Tommy realizes that's the reason why they couldn't find a cause of death. She is still alive. But how? They lit her on fire. They took out her heart. So what is keeping her going? So Austin checks out the cloth again and folds it. That's when he notices that the words on it connect. It refers to the Bible, to Leviticus 20:27. So Tommy looks it up, and it leads back to the 1693 witch trials. Leviticus is about the mass murder of witches back in the north. Tommy doesn't understand. There were no witches back in Salem. They were all innocent women. But this one is different. They did not hang her or burn her at the stake. They tortured her, and it didn't work. So what if the ritual they performed on her back then actually created a witch? What if everything they did to her she wants them to feel too? She feels everything even now. That's why she keeps them alive, because she is taking revenge for all the pain men caused her. She doesn't pick her targets, because everybody who crosses her path is her target. Those who survived buried her and got as far away as possible. Nobody before has seen what they see now. She is still suffering as long as they can't kill her. Somebody tries to break into the room, so Austin holds the door while Tommy pleads with the witch. He tells her he won't fight her, but begs her not to hurt his son. He wants to help her. The person at the door stops as Tommy's wrists and ankles break. The pain that was inflicted onto her is now inflicted onto him. Then her lungs, every torture she endured is placed onto him as it is healed on her. Tommy reaches for the knife as the life seeps back into her. He begs his son to please end it, so he does. He stabs his own father in the heart to stop the pain, and the light that returned in Jane's eyes fades again. The power goes back on. Everything slowly returns to normal, and Austin hears the sheriff's voice calling from the back. So Austin runs up the stairs to the hatch. Heavy machinery is outside to open the door, but it's still stuck as the sheriff sings the song that kept playing on the radio. The bell rings from downstairs. His dad's dead body is behind him, and he falls down the stairs. The next morning, the sheriff arrives on the scene and finds the bodies of the Tildens and Emma in the morgue. There is no obvious forced entry. The bodies are all in their coolers, and Jane Doe is still on the table. He commands for her to be transferred out of his county. Transfer her to Virginia University. Maybe they can make sense of what is wrong with her. They cover her and load her up in a van as they also take care of the other bodies. The man transferring her's radio changes channel back to the song she loves so much, and then her toe moves and the bell rings. So why did the witch kill Austin? How did she become a witch? And what will happen next? Let's start with the easiest question and work up to the hard one. What will happen next is very simple. She will either kill the driver of the car or enjoy the ride to college and then kill hundreds of kids by showing them things that scare them, like walking corpses that will eventually make them kill each other. But how did she become a witch? Well, according to Tommy's theory, the people back in the late 1600s actually ritualistically turned her into one. She feels everything but cannot die. She had been tortured beyond imagination and is now trapped in an endless cycle of pain. The irony is that she may not have been a witch when they captured her. The markings on the inside of her skin suggest that the people performing the torture were attempting to create a witch, and in doing so, they may have accidentally created exactly what they feared. She seems to force people to experience the same terror and suffering that she endured. Every injury found during the autopsy mirrors a wound she somehow continues to feel centuries later, and only when Tommy offered to accept her pain in full did she decide that it could be enough. Maybe she could finally be free. The cuts on her body began to disappear, and the transformation was almost complete. Until that dipshit Austin stabbed his dad, the transformation was nearly finished, and while it's impossible to know whether Jane Doe would have died or simply gotten back up, the movie strongly suggests that Tommy's sacrifice was working. For the first time in centuries, she appeared willing to let someone live. What ultimately doomed Austin wasn't Jane Doe herself, but fear. Throughout the entire movie, she manipulates people into seeing things that aren't there, and just like the people who condemned her centuries ago, Austin acted out of panic and violence. The moment he stabbed Tommy, whatever chance they had of breaking the cycle disappeared. In the end, Jane Doe remains exactly what she has been for hundreds of years, a victim transformed into a monster by the cruelty of others, destined to carry her pain somewhere new and spread it to the next unlucky people who cross her path. And that's a wrap. Please like, subscribe, and hype up the video. I'll see you next time.